Hello, Contrarians, listeners, watchers, subscribers. Here we are with yet another post-credits installment here in the summer of the MTV Movie Bangers. Here, we're stepping up the ante when it comes to romance. We tackled it in its early years as it's blossoming in the teenage years with Romeo and Juliet. And now, this is more... okay, I got yelled at in a recent episode when I called Cary Elves middle-aged when he was 28. So am I okay to call Kevin Costner in this movie middle-aged, Alex?
I don't even know if he would have been. That's closer to it than, a 28-year-old.
Okay. So I would call this a middle-aged romance.
Yeah, he would have been approaching 40 at this point in time. So,
Okay.
that's fair.
You can't argue against that hairline, I guess. So, middle-aged romance, as only Hollywood can bring it to you, at least could bring it to you. I don't know if we can still make these movies today, but we certainly could back in the 90s, as we gave The Bodyguard a lot of nominations at the MTV Movie Awards. And that's really the main reason why we're discussing it now. Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, and a bunch of that guys. Rotten on the Tomatometer, sadly. So we're gonna, on the main feed, on the main episode, we say really nice things about it. And then, we tell you how we really feel. If you followed the show for a while, you know that Alex is a romantic between the two of us.
True.
That might give you a hint as to who enjoyed this movie more. But I don't know. Maybe I'll surprise you. But what we'll do here is we'll give you some extra Rotten Tomatoes quotes, some extra trivia. We'll talk about the trailer. And, of course, we'll do the Josh Gad Minute. So let's get started, Alex. We're going to start, as usual, with a consensus. It's 38% rotten on the Tomatometer. The consensus is The Bodyguard is a cheesy, melodramatic potboiler with occasional moments of electricity from Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Not even
we talk about she has moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Costner's just thrown to the wayside there.
Do you think that they sold this? I mean, and we'll talk about this when we get to the trailer, but this is, now, when you think about it, is it a Whitney Houston movie? Is it a Kevin Costner movie?
No, it's the Whitney Houston movie, for sure.
Okay.
Kevin Costner has so much other shit that you think about when his name comes to mind.
That's true.
This is the movie he did with Whitney Houston.
Yeah, this is the one that Whitney Houston let him do. Do you think she had approval? She was like, casting Frank, she had final say on who's gonna.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what she would have seen him in. Was trying to think of Dances with Wolves. That was before this.
91?
So, 90. Yeah, so she saw that, and
he looks like he can take it.
Whitney Houston and Waterworld,
All right, well, let's start with our first fresh rotten quote, Countess Russell from South Florida Sun Sentinel, who says, while this tepid thriller is a showcase for Houston in her film debut, it is the downfall of co-star Kevin Costner in the title role.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, he's good. He's as good as this movie asks him to be. That's a pretty damning statement there.
Why would it be the downfall? I mean, I know that Kevin Costner's career has had its ups and downs, right? I mean, you just said it. He won the Oscar for Dances with Wolves, if not for acting, at least for directing, right? Because he was the power behind that. More recently, of course, he's hit kind of a pretty
He won
low.
Best Picture and Director.
Yeah, there you go. Last year or so, he had his multi-part epic that, he's the first installment. It bombed so badly that now the second one might not get released, and they might not even shoot the third one. So it's a roller coaster. You follow his career, but I don't know that The Bodyguard is one where you say, "Oh, this is where he." To quote David Spade, he didn't derail in this one, right?
No. Yeah, I mean, they're probably going off of like The Untouchables, Bull Durham, into Field of Dreams, into Dances with Wolves, into JFK, and then this. So they qualified this as his downfall, which obviously is not true. Waterworld would end up losing a lot of money.
There you go. That's Candace just wait a couple of years. And then,
yeah, he bounced back. Like Tin Cup was a really well received movie. 3,000 Miles to Graceland, not so much. But go check out our episode on it.
yeah. And of course, Man of Steel. That's when he peaked.
Oh yes,
part of the DCEU.
The return was solidified there.
Yeah. All right. Well, so disproven categorically. This was not the downfall of Kevin Costner. And then we have Peter Rayner from the Los Angeles Times, who says just about everything that can go wrong with this film does, and yet it's compulsively watchable. And then in parentheses, so is a train wreck.
Well, the last part was a little unnecessary, but yeah, I think that's a takeaway from both of us. It's a watchable movie. It's not great, but there's enough in it to keep you interested. And it's a movie that's unnecessarily over 2 hours, but at no point does that really become too big of an issue just because it is, as my buddy Bob O'Neill would say, aggressively fine.
I mean, here's the problem for The Bodyguard. And I just remember where the contention was with my middle-aged comment. When we talk about Carrie Elves in The Crush, which is a movie that... if you're following the Summer of the MTV Bangers, that's, our Alicia Silverstone entry on the Patreon channel. But we talked about The Crush. The Crush is a movie that I would describe as a train wreck that is compulsively watchable.
Yeah, that movie's also an hour and 20 minutes.
Exactly.
So yeah.
It's a quick train wreck.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know, it carries a little more weight. It just...
There are some side tangents or kind of side angles throughout that we discuss in the episode being a trifle bit unnecessary. So, yeah, it's certainly not above reproach, but I can't really argue with a movie that made $400 million,
I mean, yes. I wonder how much of that was repeat business, because I guess my final statement was going to be it's compulsively watchable maybe once. And then once you know what's happening, you just want to fast forward to the good stuff. Like, give me the Whitney, the Whitney Houston songs, right?
I'm curious at what part in this movie, if I would hang around for the ending, because I'm very complimentary of the ending of this movie. I'm curious how far back I would, if I saw this on a TV in a hotel room. I was like,
the Oscars, right? Like, how do you walk away from the Oscars sequence?
Yeah. Yeah, because if they're still in the cabin, I'm like, there's too much left. But yeah, if they're at the Academy Awards, especially if I get to see the approving Mike Starr look at the side there.
Well, speaking of Mike Starr, let's move on to the trailer. Let's do some trailer chatter, because my main takeaway from the trailer is that they do him dirty.
Completely out of context. The Mike Starr, Kevin Costner fight sequence here. Yeah, if you saw that trailer and, like me, let's say there's someone who's fired up about it. Like, what's the last movie? Iron Claw. Man, I watched that trailer 20 times before I saw the movie. So I could, pick everything apart. If I saw that, I was like, wait, that's not at all what happened. That's not how the trailer framed it at all. And it's also, you want to talk about a movie that knew its audience. I'm not being sexist by this. The trailer is, and the thoughts of the film studio that made it was hitting every fucking beat they thought that women would flock to. The soft music, the romance, the meet cute, the ruggedness of Kevin Costner, and then the promise of potential danger, and that explosion on the lake completely.
But that was for the guys. That's for the boyfriends. Kevin Costner shooting and Kevin Costner beating up Mike Starr, and
the explosion's the cover of the romance novel, man. I'm not kidding. This trailer presents this movie like it's a live action romance novel, which it kind of sort of is, but the movie at least tries to present it as this looked like a commercial for a Made for Lifetime movie from the 90s,
When you said that this movie knew its audience,
I don't know what I'm talking about. The poster for this is the cover of the romance novel. He's carrying her through the rain. Yeah. Well.
I think that him carrying her, it's raining, and I knew that image not having watched the movie. So out of context, just the way that you also know the song, I Will Always Love You, without having seen the movie. I think that the image from the poster is another iconic thing that the Bodyguard left us. When you were talking about this movie knowing its audience, I thought you were talking about the fact that they, I don't know, 10 seconds in, Whitney Houston starts singing, and they just keep it through the entire trailer. And it's not even the big song that we know from the movie. This, this is the one that she sings.
This is the original song. I Will Always Love You was that
cover.
Wasn't an original song. Yeah.
Right. Oh, so this one is the one that might have gotten nominated for an Oscar if it did.
I believe. Yeah, I think that's Run to You. It got two of the songs from this. I Have Nothing and Run to You got nominated for Best Original Song.
Okay. This one, the one in the trailer, is the one I think that she plays, that she sings when after they've gotten into their big fight. They get together, then they get into a big fight, and they're not together anymore. And she sings that while Costner is moping around. And they also, I was gonna say, speaking of action, they also show it's like Mike Starr, and then he also they show him beat up the cook, the waiter.
Yeah.
Completely, like you said, it's intercut with Whitney Houston saying there was somebody by home. Yeah,
someone in my house.
It wasn't one of them.
This is not a bad movie in the idea of like what we've seen since the dawning of cinema, where it's like, hey, this is a popular person from another walk of entertainment. Let's see if we can make them a movie star. For some reason, the first thing that comes to mind is fucking Chairman of the Board with Carrot Top. Whitney Houston is obviously someone who is more talented than Carrot Top. But the advertising material for this, based off this trailer and everything you see, is very clearly, hey, Whitney Houston's in a movie. Come see it.
Yeah. She gets all the cool shots, and Costner is just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
I had forgotten already about this moment because I'm pretty sure I didn't bring it up in the episode. The first time that they kind of flirt, it's actually pretty cute. When she's coming back from jogging, and he's like, "Are you afraid that somebody's gonna try to shoot me while I'm jogging?" And he's like, "No, I'm afraid that I'm gonna have to jog with you." Like, damn, Costner! Now you have my attention. I don't know. All of you listening, watching out there, where do you rank Kevin Costner, the Bodyguard, Kevin Costner? Where do you rank him in the current, scale of male hotness? Like, would that kind of stuff work still in the year 2025, or have we lost our way and now it's just Ryan Gosling at the top and a big chasm?
He's not aggressive. He just looks like an old man, but he's not aggressive. He's got some good charm to him.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a fun trailer. Watch it. I dare say you can just watch it and that's it. No, because you still have to listen to "I Will Always Love You."
Absolutely.
And watch the last 5 minutes of the movie. So, but anyway, that's the trailer. Before we move on to trivia, let's do the Josh Gad Minute. Alex, this is a serious 90s movie. So not a whole lot of room for the usual Josh Gad antics. So where do you put him?
Yeah, because of that, unfortunately, we can't really mess with the format of like he presents the Academy Award with Whitney Houston and he's himself, because that wouldn't make sense at the time. And I like Bill Cobbs, so I don't want him out of there. And it really kills the dynamic if you make him the limo driver. What's his name? Robert Wool.
Yes.
You could have him be the Oscars host and just be like, he's playing some, and that would make sense. I'm kind of surprised we haven't reached the point of Gad hosting the Oscars yet. But honestly, look, that there's no other choice than this. He plays Cy. He's the dickhead manager that nobody likes, and he talks down to everybody and ends up getting motherfucked at the end by Mike Starr.
And he gets the dramatic shot. I think it's the last time we see him in the movie, where he picks up the envelope and it's covered in blood. And he looks like, did he realize the error of his ways, or is he just thinking, man, that's a shame that this moment got ruined by an assassination attempt? Well, Alex, you could go the other way. And instead of making him the villain, you make him the character that gets a redemption. and so you kick Mike Starr out of there.
No, nope, not doing it.
Why not?
Also, that means we have to buy Josh Gad as a serious ass kicker, which I'm not gonna do, man.
Do you buy Mike Starr as a serious ass kicker in this movie?
Yes, that's why he got all the roles that he did in the '90s, dude. Because he's just this big Italian fucker that is gonna just wreck shop. I mean, he doesn't have anything for Kevin Costner, and that
That's
also
my point.
presents the scenario of Kevin Costner and Josh Gad having a choreographed fight scene. But
amazing,
no.
I want it.
No.
I want to see it now. I want Kevin Costner today to get into a choreographed fight scene with Josh Gad. It would be very entertaining. I think that he could pull it off. I like the idea of him being the asshole manager or PR person. I think that all things considered, the one that makes the most sense is him hosting the Oscars, because it'd be just such a perfect in joke. And Gad can sing, so he can do what Robert Mull didn't, which is just sing in the middle of his monologue, like Billy Crystal used to do. So, Mr. Gad, there you go. Maybe this is the push that you need, to really put yourself out there, and they can call you next time that they're looking for a new Oscar host. Man, I would have a blast with Josh Gad hosting the Oscars. Oh, yeah. I think he's more likely to host the Tonys because he's such a stage person, but still, get him at least to present. Man, I don't think that I've ever seen Josh Gad presenting at the Oscars.
Not that I can recall. He certainly didn't walk out naked like John Cena.
Yeah, well, he's young. He can do it still. Now, let's close with trivia. Alex, what do you have?
All right, the guard. We've now done the guard and the bodyguard. So now
we need to do the body now.
I know. We need to find the Jesse Ventura biopic, The Body. A 1992 film directed by Mick Jackson. And we make the joke numerous times in the episode because you can't really be named Michael Jackson. There's one ever. Written by Lawrence Kasdan. Produced by Kevin Costner, Lawrence Kasdan, and Jim Wilson. I can't remember if we called out that Costner actually was a producer on this. Released November 25th of 1992, so this would have been a holiday release. No surprise there. Budget of $25 million with a box office return of $411 million. To kind of break that down, in the U.S. and Canada, opened on November 25th, and in 1,700 theaters, grossing $16.6 million in its opening weekend, ranking third. The film spent 10 weeks in the top 10, ultimately grossing $121.9 million domestically and $410 million worldwide. 410.9, so that's where the 411 comes from. Its international gross was a record for Warner Brothers. In the United Kingdom, it had a record Christmas opening with a gross of $2 million for the weekend from 258 screens. In Australia, it set an opening week record at 4.36 million Australian on 144 screens, beating the record set by, what would you guess in Australia?
Crocodile Dundee?
Crocodile Dundee 2, sir. It also set the opening weekend record in Denmark. It was the highest grossing Warner Brothers film in Japan of all time, with a gross of excess of 21 million. That is so fascinating to me. But at the same time, it makes sense because this is a very that's what America's like type movie.
Oh, God. Not anymore.
No. It was the 7th highest grossing film of 1992 in the U.S. and Canada, and the 2nd highest grossing film of 1992 worldwide, behind... Any guesses? The movie we've done, just so you know.
1992.
So it would have been 90. 92. It's getting tripped up looking at the Oscar nominations.
Yeah, hang on. 92. And he made a lot of money.
It made more money than The Bodyguard, and it also beat out both of its nominated songs in the Best Original Song category.
Aladdin.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Nice. We got there.
Surprised myself.
A Whole New World taking home the Academy Award for Best Original Song at the ceremony in 1993. We've talked about that ceremony ad nauseum because of our episode on Unforgiven recently, so you can consult that for more information on the winners. Aladdin, of course, going on to make over $500 million.
That's funny. Unforgiven didn't even cross my mind.
No. Famous parodies of this. The Simpsons. This is what I think of. There's an episode where Homer becomes the bodyguard to Mayor Quimby. In the episode Mayor to the Mob, Homer receives bodyguard training from an instructor who sings "I Will Always Love You" after the class graduates. So this episode, the climax of it is like he's protecting Mayor Quimby at like a convention of some sort, and Mark Hamill's there, and Homer has to save Mark Hamill from like this horde of nerds, if I'm remembering correctly, and he carries him out like he does, like Kevin Costner does Whitney Houston out of the club, like he's kicking people out of the way and shit. 30 Rock in the episode Hardball, Tracy Jordan is rescued from a mob by his entourage, his character saying "I will always love you" during that scene. Bulletproof, you know, the Damon Wayans, Adam Sandler film.
Okay, never seen it. Yeah. I know the poster.
It's not good. Adam Sandler's character sings "I Will Always Love You" and remarks that Damon Wayans' character can always be his bodyguard. And for those who like this kind of thing, Family Guy. And there's an episode, Boopa Dee Boppa Dee. Fucking Seth MacFarlane. Chris thought that the American national anthem is "I Will Always Love You" and sang it in front of the official to get back American citizenship.
Okay, come on, that's funny.
Yeah, that's good.
Also, I mean, mentioned in the episode, you bring up "This Is the End."
Yep.
Right? And I bring up, because I have to, because somebody has to, Spider-Man Far From Home, where you know, it opens with "I Will Always Love You." So that song,
we really fixate on it because it's true. Like, songs from movies do not come much more synonymous than that. Like, even like Disney movies, like we're talking about A Whole New World, there are people that know that song that probably don't even know where it came from, but like everyone knows this fucking song, and they know Kevin Costner carrying Whitney Houston through the rain. So we're having some fun, so it's time to, of course, bring it down a little bit.
Oh no.
Listen to this shit, man. Following the success of the film, Costner contacted his longtime friend Diana, Princess of Wales, to star in a sequel, and she agreed. The first draft of the screenplay was completed the day before she died in 1997.
There's so much that's wrong in just those brief sentences, and yet I want to know, was Lawrence Kasdan writing that draft?
That's the extent of the information it gives here.
Was Costner writing it?
There's an article from The Guardian in 2019. Actor confirms the late Prince of Wales was keen to play the role after conversations instigated by Sarah Ferguson. The studio liked the idea of doing Bodyguard 2, said he was talking to Diana in the same kind of capacity as Whitney. Nobody really knew for about a year. In 2012, Costner first spoke of the project, explaining that the plot would have involved his character protecting Diana's from stalkers and paparazzi. God.
Wow.
Before their relationship turned romantic. He said
so it's just basically the movie again?
Oh, yeah. What do you think we're doing here, man? Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
It's U.S. Marshals again.
So he's the one who says the first script of the film arrived on his desk on August 30th of 1997, and she died on the 31st.
I mean, now, who's asking for this?
Far be it for me to say an actor's ever lied, but that story's a little too good, man. That's like a Hulk Hogan story right there, man. Brother, me and Princess Di, we're going to work together, dude. And, you know, I told her don't get in that limo.
That's awful. I mean, and yes.
That's a story he would tell. I'm not like, anyone who's listening to this that knows Terry Bollea is like his fables knows I'm not lying. But to your point, who fucking cares, man?
Are you talking like as a studio head? It's like, I don't care if nobody wants this. They will pay to watch it.
Oh, that movie would have made like $800 million in 1997, dude.
Yes.
They would have had like the fucking Spice Girls do an original song for it and shit. Like, that would be the disaster that we're referencing here. And, you know, God bless Princess Di. Obviously a horrible, horrible thing that happened to that young woman. But
Costner just selling his soul.
There is nothing there's no scenario that I can wrap my mind around where that movie wouldn't have ended up being one of those how did this get made Mystery Science Theater type things.
Right. It's like on a very basic level, I think it cheapens the first movie so much if you just have him basically fall in love with the next person that he protects.
Yep.
That's his thing. Now it's comical, right? Like it feels special if it happens just once in this movie. If you make a sequel where the same thing happens, it's like, oh, so that's his thing. That's his kink. He just falls for the big celebrity that he protects.
Yeah.
But then if you don't make it a love story and it just turns out to be like a thriller, you're like, why is this even a sequel to The Bodyguard? Who's asking for a straight up adventure from Frank, whatever his last name is, in The Bodyguard? So I think
because then it just becomes like, why not just make it like a James Bond franchise where, like, you know, every 2 years we get this Frank Farmer movie where he's laying pipe on some new, you know, superstar. By 2001, Jennifer Lopez would have been the star. I'm telling you, man.
And then the thing becomes like, who's gonna be the big actor that they cast as the stalker, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now you're selling me on this idea. Kevin Costner just.
I would need like Christopher McDonald to follow up Happy Gilmore as Shooter McGavin by being the stalker in whatever The Bodyguard 3 was.
Bleach hair, no eyebrows. Just he goes all in on the role. I mean, you know, I think that it would be something that we would make fun of. And yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think that the studio would care. They would tell you, hey, but did it make money?
Yeah.
Right. It would be the producers from Nickelodeon. Oh, like, did they laugh? Did they pay? Did they come back? Did they tell their friends? Yeah. Okay. Well, then there you go. But
throwing cash up in the air.
Yeah. Costner wouldn't have so much problems financing his fourth part Western epic today because he'd
still be living off that.
Yeah. But okay. Well, now here some more philosophical, ethical question, Alex. If you're Kevin Costner, do you tell this story even if it's true? Isn't it a little bit in poor taste?
Yeah.
Yeah. The comparison to Hulk Hogan kind of like made me think of that. It's like, why are you, you know, she died in a tragic accident. How about you just keep that trivia to yourself? Because that's not that feels a little bit like you're trying to use her tragedy to prop yourself up. It's like,
that seems like one of those stories that, you know, I have no reason to believe that Kevin Costner is lying about it, but it should have been an urban legend that even if he gets asked about it, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right,
you know?
Right.
But then if you see Cost at the bar and you buy him a few rounds, he'll be like, yeah, that was real.
No, you tell you like, I'm not saying it's real. I'm not saying that script exists, but if it did, and I'm not saying it does, it would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
If he's got like this trench coat on, he just opens it up. All right, so in the episode here, we're gonna wrap this thing up talking about the reason for the season, as I like to say here with the MTV Movie Awards. We go in on all of the expected and humorously unexpected award nominations this movie received. So be sure to check out the episode for that. But at the MTV Movie Awards in 1993, hosted by Eddie Murphy, and that's in Burbank, Walt Disney Studios. The Bodyguard was nominated for Best Movie, Best Male Performance, Best Female Performance, Most Desirable Male, Breakthrough Performance, Best On-Screen Duo, and Best Song from a Movie being I Will Always Love You. The only bucket of golden popcorn The Bodyguard took home was for I Will Always Love You. Losing out Best Picture, Best Movie to A Few Good Men. We go through the nominations, the nominees one by one in this episode, but we also talked about this recently for Breakthrough Performance, because this is the year Marissa Tomei won for My Cousin Vinny.
Right.
So Whitney Houston is, you know, her moments of brilliance here in this movie. I mean, I can't argue with that. And losing out Best Duo to Mel Gibson and Danny Glover for Lethal Weapon 3. They were nominated alongside Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman for Far and Away, Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes for White Men Can't Jump, Sharon Stone and Mike Douglas for Basic Instinct. So, not a... they didn't need a wheelbarrow to take home all the awards they got that year at the MTV Movie Awards, but they very constant presence, and I think kind of speaks to the pop culture phenomenon it was at the time, and honestly has only grown in legacy since.
They got the one that mattered. Like, if that movie hadn't won the best song MTV Movie Award, you'd be scratching your head. You'd be like, why? That's the only one that we care about today out of those nominees. It'd be weird. Also, I was thinking, you've seen all the Lethal Weapons, right?
Yeah. I mean, not enough to really retain much.
Together. Yeah. But that was going to be my point. I was like, why would you give it to Gibson and Glover for 3? Like, are they doing something particularly interesting that they didn't do in 2 or 1? But then I was thinking maybe 2 and 1 they were not MTV Movie Awards at the time. Is that maybe what happened?
Probably. Let me see when Lethal Weapon 2 came out. That came out in 89, so yeah, they hadn't started the movie awards yet.
Okay, yeah. So it was just more like a Lifetime Achievement Duo Award.
Which went to the Three Stooges in 1993.
Hey, there you go. All right, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the Bodyguard getting the golden popcorn for song. I would probably have some contention if Whitney Houston had beaten Marissa Tomei. In this field, having just done that a couple episodes ago, but this is good. I think that the Bodyguard, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that disagrees with all the praise that song gets and the performance from Whitney Houston of that song. And so maybe that's one of those few things that we can all still agree on in this war-torn America that we live in. We're not completely gone yet. We can all agree on "I Will Always Love You." So for that, be thankful. But that's it. That's gonna do it for this episode. Coming up next, speaking of America, speaking of war, man, it's our 4th of July episode. We're gonna do our best to drop the actual podcast episode on the 4th, but we're busy people, so it might be a couple of days off. But whatever the case, it's Independence Day. Independence Day. Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman.
Judd Hirsch.
Yes. Well, now we could just spend 30 minutes of video just telling you about the cast. But I was thinking of like the top 3 people that saved the world, because Vivica A. Fox is there, but she's there to wait for Will Smith to propose, and not Bonnie Hunt. It's great, but she's not iconic in the way that Will Smith, Bill Pullman, and Jeff Goldblum are in that movie. So Independence Day. If you haven't watched it, God, run and watch it right now. It's
absolutely
ready. But it's fresh. It's barely fresh on the Tomatometer. So we're gonna nitpick it wonderfully in Contrarians Corner. That will tell you how we really feel. And then we'll do a post-credits video to just add all the other stuff. It had a lot of MTV Movie Award nominations that year, so it will be fun. So watch The Bodyguard, or not, just watch the trailer. Listen to the episode, watch Independence Day, and we'll talk to you again soon.